The War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha by Charles Soule was released just last week. I know very little about comics outside of Star Wars, so I had to get my friends at Broaxium to tell me what Alpha means, and it's basically issue 0 for this big crossover event, a prelude to the story to come, which makes sense. Prelude is written on the cover, so I probably should have been able to figure that out, but this is the setup for the upcoming war, and it tells us how Boba Fett loses control of Han Solo in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I will be getting into spoilers if you haven't read the issue yet. For me, the most important part of this war was going to be the reason Fett makes a pit stop on his way to Jabba's, and I'm happy to say it is a very good reason. The bounty hunter makes a big deal about Solo's potential death on Cloud City, expressing concerns that the smuggler might die. Jabba wants Han Solo alive. Right away, Fett sees that the carbonite is starting to deteriorate, so he takes his bounty to a friend on Nar Shaddaa who is like, "Yeah, of course it's deteriorating, you stuck a person in there." We've seen that done in the Clone Wars, but again in Empire, Vader points out that Cloud City's facilities are crude, and that's the danger for Skywalker, which is why they tested on Han at all. So I am satisfied with why Boba Fett can't rush Han over to Jabba's. It's rooted in information we already know. If the carbonite decays, Solo will die, and that'll ruin Boba Fett's payday. Which sounds like it is substantial. It also sounds like Fett needs the credits. The opening crawl for the issue even says he's desperate. I find that a little odd. You'd think someone as notorious as Boba Fett would be flush with cash. I think it's all just a reason to get him away from Han while his friend Doc works to fix the carbonite. Fett can't pay him in cash, so he offers to pay him with a favor. He needs to enter a fighting ring as a cover to assassinate the champion fighter, which leads to a nice connection back to his father's own death in a similar arena. But I don't know, something about all this felt a little more forced to me, just a way to keep Boba busy while some other bounty hunters show up to claim Han for themselves. That said, it was still entertaining to watch. I mean, it's Fett in a fighting pit, it's gonna be cool, and the champion he's meant to assassinate was a fun and bizarre design. I literally said, "What the hell?" out loud when I first saw her. It's wacky, but in an enjoyable way, and it's good to see at least this first issue of the war cemented firmly in the scum and villainy side of the galaxy. Underground fights on Nar Shaddaa, you can't get much more scum and villainy than that. But yeah, Fett returns to get Han back only to find that someone else has taken him. We don't know who yet, it might just be some small upstart group trying to make a name for themselves. It doesn't really matter, all that's important is that Han is out there somewhere. Soon it'll become public knowledge, and everyone will try to recover him. While I was just kind of lukewarm on this premiere issue, I'm still very excited to see how these other stories start colliding with each other. The text at the back of this issue claims War of the Bounty Hunters is the biggest crossover event Marvel has ever done with Star Wars, and I don't know enough about comics to know if that's true, but it certainly feels that way. The main Star Wars run, Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra, Bounty Hunters, and a bunch of one-shots are all going to tell this one story. It's kinda like the comic adaptation of Shadows of the Empire, but cranked up to 11, and I look forward to seeing how it all plays out. It'll continue on May 12th with the Star Wars Prelude issue. I probably won't cover every individual issue, but I thought I'd at least chime in on the start of the story. But if you want to follow along, Broaxium is doing a big crossover event of their own, discussing each issue with other Star Wars channels. I'll link to the episode I did with them about this Alpha issue, and make sure you subscribe to them to keep up with all their Star Wars comic coverage. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.